Oh, there he is! He's coming for us!
Don't make too many quick noises. I have no idea what he is doing out right now. Lord, that's a large alligator out for this time of the year, yeah.
Is he looking for food?
I don't know. He's, they can't eat this time of the year.
Is he sick? Is he sick?
No.
Pregnant?
Chances are the other company that works with us out here, they harassed him while he was in his hole, and
he's disturbed.
Yeah, it's a shame because he probably would die tonight.
He will die tonight.
Being exposed to the cold elements like this. This is awesome. Y'all get to see him.
Yeah.
Really? This is a 10, 9-foot alligator. It's a good way you can tell how large an alligator is.
Yeah.
Just looking at his head, from snout to eyeballs. Each inch represents a foot. Now it's crazy he's out in the middle of the bayou like this. You trust me? I spin around, get a good look.
We can't help him? Please do not disturb the alligators when they're sleeping. Now he will die tonight.
Coming right here. Now y'all don't get too close to the boat now, because I don't know what he's thinking. Now they can't eat this time of the year. Once the water temperature gets below 80 degrees, there's a gland in back of their throat that swells up. That even if they wanted to eat, they couldn't. This is why he's, especially him being so big, this is why he's more susceptible to dying, because the large ones, they have so much body mass that
How old is he?
him being about 10 feet long is about 90 years old.
90 years old, and now he dies because someone woke him up.
Yep, that's the price they have to pay. The growth rate of an alligator is a foot to a foot and a half a year, up until 6 feet. At 6 feet, they're considered mature, so the growth rate will go down to about 6 to 8 inches a year, up until 10 feet. Now at 10 feet, the females, they won't grow larger than 10 feet for some reason. But the males, they'll grow anywhere between 2 to 4 inches a year.
He's 9 years old.
No, he's got to be at least 90. Being about 9, 10 foot long, yeah. Because, accelerated growth rate is at the beginning part of their life, up to 6 feet. Might take about 10 years to get there. To get to about 10 feet, which is he's about at right now, might take another 50 years. Now, this all depends on the extreme winters and the food source that they have, too.
How long can they live? Like 200 years? Or
It's hard to tell because the largest ones are killed, and the even bigger ones, we call them the dinosaurs, the Tyrannosaurus rexes. They're very smart. They live for about 200 years, 150 years. The next time they see a boat, the chances are they've had an encounter with a human or a boat. So the next time they see one or hear one, they'll go under the water. They can hold their breath for about 6 to 8 hours, so you won't even know they're there. The largest one ever caught in Louisiana was 17'4". That's a foot shorter than what this boat is long. 1,300 pounds. That alligator was estimated at about 130 years old. Now they can grow for a very, very long time. They can't contract any type of diseases like you or I can. They can't get any type of tooth decay, so they'll always have their teeth. They a large reason why they can't contract it. Where to go?
he's out there in front of you.
Where because I don't know what he's thinking out there.
When did they go to sleep? You said they sleep about 2 months.
Once the water temperature reaches about 80 degrees, they'll take that as a hint that it's time to start hibernating because there's a gland in back of their throat that swells up, that even if they wanted to eat something, they couldn't. This is why the myth of having...
He's going to hit him.
He might. He'll probably go underwater. Now, he's probably going to pull up to the side and we're going to go to him. We're going to see if he's sick or not. If he's sick, he's going to try to eat. being that he's out in the winter like this. This is, I'm sorry I'm probably saying this on film, but it's something that needs to be said.
Exactly.
During the summer,
Yeah.
they feed them marshmallows.
Right.
Oh.
Now, listen,
Who feeds them marshmallows?
people around, they get them.
Oh, okay.
They get them to come to the boat for marshmallows. The reason why you feed
Like
them
candy?
marshmallows is because they can't taste sweet, sour, fresh or rotten. The reason why they feed them marshmallows is because, like you or I, you eat salad, your stomach is full, but you're really not getting the nutrients that you need. If we was to feed them, say, like fish or chicken, it might benefit them because they're getting the nutrients that they need. All summer, they're working very diligently to store their body energy, their fat, that's predominantly in their back tails. Once that marshmallow, that they feed them marshmallows because you can feed them all day, he won't disappear. If you feed them something hard,
Someone wake him up today or in the last few days?
somebody probably woke him up today.
And now he's probably wondering, confused?
He's probably, like I said, he's probably sick. He's probably trying his best to get something to eat. Because once that marshmallow that they feed him all during the winter, all during the summer, hits his stomach. The reason why they feed him marshmallows is because that marshmallow disintegrates in his stomach, because his stomach acid is one of the strongest stomach acids in the animal kingdom. So as soon as that marshmallow hits his stomach, disintegrates. He thinks he's eating something. He thinks he's doing a good job of storing his fat, but really once it hits his stomach, it goes nowhere. So in turn, he does not store the food that he needs, that he's going to need for this time of the year where he can't eat to live off of. This is probably why he's out like this.
He's looking for food.
I don't know.
Or he's confused.
He's probably doing the last little bit that he can. There's a larger one up on the bank that died recently because that's what I think. Me being back here during the winter time, you see the large ones dead. Now, they might be on the end of their road. No one knows. But I think it's because they feed them the marshmallows. Now, me, if I feed them, very seldomly, because I don't feed the alligators, it makes a very dangerous alligator. Because there's no more fear of human.
Right.
Next time he sees a boat or a human, he's going to expect to be fed. I've had
like a cat
with them in this area right here because I'm in this area. I live right here. And see, they do their best all year round to try and store their energy. They don't run around chasing people or dogs because they have to store their energy. They work their best to move as little as possible. The more preferred diet is fish. The way that they fish is they stay up at the surface, they take a couple of nice deep breaths, and then they submerge themselves. Like free diving, they slow their heart rate down. At that time, he's only working at about 4 to 7 beats per minute, not expending a lot of calories. And they don't chase after prey because their more preferred food comes to them. The way that they do that is after they submerge themselves under the bottom,
he went to the shore. He went over there.
Yeah, he did go towards the shore.
To the shore.
Yeah. Oh, but then he's kind of coming back around.
Oh yeah, I see him.
Yeah, he's coming back around.
That's the other company that works for us. You can tell that's them all day because when they pass by in the bayou, they soar. Now, within a half a mile, you can't talk. Our boats, we can pass inside you because we run with mufflers. It makes it a lot quiet.
Right, yeah.
And they tend to hire couillons that don't know no different. They pass by, you just yeah.
Couillons. We're gonna use that one. Hashtag. Yeah, how you spell that?
It's not their fault that they're not as smart,
Bruce is a couillon.
While he's fishing, I was telling you earlier, the more preferred diet is fish, about 85-95% fish. The way he catches his fish is after he slows his heart rate at the surface, he takes one nice breath and go underwater. At that time, they can hold that breath for about 6 to 8 hours. Wow. So while he's at the bottom, he's going to open up his mouth. He's got vibration orifices on the bottom part of his jaw, a little bit on top of his head and down his back that let him read vibrations in the water very, very keenly. What he does is wherever he feels the vibrations at in the water, he turns his mouth to. Now, that same gland that swells up once the water temperature gets 80 degrees also serves a purpose when he's fishing. It won't let water in or out. So the myth of having an alligator not being able to bite you underwater is a tall tale. He can bite underwater. Now, while he's at the bottom, wherever he feels the vibrations that he turns his mouth to, now the inside of the alligator's mouth is pearl white. It'll stay pearl white his entire life. The reason for that is because that's to mimic light. So the fish swims straight into his mouth. He does not have to chase it. See, like beings that they're black and they got spikes on them, it is to mimic law. That is to catch other prey, say like things that doesn't know he's there. He will not chase after things for more than 2.5, 3 minutes, because at that time he realizes he's expending too many calories. So he's gonna let it go. If he takes in, say, like a white-tailed deer that walks up next to him, that he'll be able to snap and drown very easily, even if you chase after a deer.
He eats deer?
Yeah, he will. That's one of the largest prey they'll catch. Now,
that's a lot of
they don't eat
meat.
them right away once they catch him, because the alligator has an overlapping jaw. It means that all his power is in the snap, all in the close. He has no power on the way back up because it's interlocking. So chewing on things makes him expend a lot of calories. If they've taken a piece of prey that's too large for them to swallow whole, they'll store it underneath the vegetation that grows under the land right here over the water and let it decompose.
Like a deer?
Mm-hmm.
You've seen them do that?
I've seen them swimming with deer in their mouth. I've seen deer lodged up underneath the bank.
Are they aggressive? Like another alligator will come and try to take the deer?
At that time, you'll find a bunch of alligators in one area because they're coming after that smell of that rotten flesh.
But the one that caught it, he let them eat too,
He'll
or
stick by it, he'll guard it.
he won't let them eat it?
At that time, that's the bull alligator, that's the male alligator. That male alligator is very territorial. So while it's sitting there decomposing, that same fresh flesh and tendons and muscle that would have been hard to chew through at the time, once it starts to decompose, it's nice and soft. It's not even mouthfuls. At the time when it's rotten, a bull alligator, a mature alligator past 6, 8 feet, you know, it can have a bite pressure of about 2,000 to 2,300 pounds per square inch. So whatever bones are in the way, snap, no problem. Take full mouthfuls of it, they'll eat their fillet till they throw up, and then they'll get up on the bank and use the sunlight to help them digest their food.
And if they eat a deer, they won't need to eat again for a long time.
That's not true. After they use the sunlight to help them digest, they go back to eat because they have to store that energy for the winter. So all summer is when they're the most active. They'll be out eating everything that they can and the means that they can.
People's dogs too?
Yeah, sometimes you'll get that happen because I like to think that as they're on their way out, you know, like we get senile and old, they start doing things that they wouldn't normally do. That's when you find when they're old.
Bruce.
Or that's when that you have an alligator that's been fed by man, so he'll stick around. If you feed him by the bank, your dog comes to the bank, you know, you sitting around, that's when he'll attack your dog. He expects that maybe that's what you feed him. They say they're not smart. But
I was going to ask you, can you like have it for a pet and teach it and it knows you're its owner, or?
Wild as they wanted. They now don't learn too much, but they learn enough. But being that they grow to 200 years old, they got to be some way smart to survive that long, you know?
Yeah. And do they reproduce babies fast, or?
Now, they do have a mating season during April to May.
This is the only time they do babies?
Yep. The females, they'll lay anywhere between 55 to 75 eggs per hatching. Now, the survival rate out of the nest is about 4 to 6%. The reason why is because she lays eggs. A lot of things out here eat eggs. There's a snake in the area known as the egg eater. What they'll do is they'll get into the nest and they'll eat most of the eggs. Now, the reason why the survival rate is so low, and everything will try to pick off of it. If she doesn't guard the nest and chase it away, everything will try to pick at those eggs. What happens is when she drops them, they're very delicate. The reason why is because when it hardens, at the very top of the egg, which way it's set, it's going to develop a little hole. That's for the young to breathe on it. If something gets into the nest and only eats 4 or 5 eggs, what's going to happen is going to tilt the rest of the eggs over, and the rest of them are going to drown in their own embryo. That's why the survival rate is so low out of the nest. Not to mention that when they're born, they're only about 4 or 5 inches long. So birds of prey carnivorous animals like the raccoon, the otter, large fish that stay in this bayou get up to about 200 pounds, like catfish and alligator, garfish. Those for snacks on the ground. So the survival rate out the nest is about 7 to 8%. So out of about 50, 75 eggs, you're only going to have about 4 or 5 of them actually make it.
And how many times does she do that during the mating time?
She only have one nest every year.
One nest every year?
That's also one of the only ways that you can tell if it's a male or a female alligator is if you find a female that's sitting next to the nest. There's no distinguishing marks or colors that'll let you know if it's male or female. The only physical way you can tell if it's a male or female is if you capture it. The orifice in between its hind legs. It's also where they use number 1 and number 2 on them. You have to stick your finger in there. If you feel something, it's a male. If you don't, it's a female. The scientific term for that is called sexting the alligator. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
What's the non-scientific term for that?
Molested. Let's go out and molest some alligators.
I'd much rather just guess that. The only other way you can tell if it's male or female besides those 2 ways is during the mating season, the males, they'll stay in the water calling, do the mating call, they call it the water dance. What they do is they make a bass-filled sound in their stomach that growl, more like a growl, is and it makes the water vibrate on their back. They call it the water dance. That'll be the males. Now they are carnivorous. They will eat each other. Cannibals.
If one's sick, they'll eat it.
The males. This is why the survival rate also is so low, because the males, they'll make it a point that every other little male alligator they come across in their lifetime, he'll either eat them. If he doesn't eat them, he'll put them in his mouth and he'll sling them up out of the water. So an alligator being forcefully put back into the water means that this is my territory, you do not belong here.
Oh, that's
we had
cool.
a very large alligator on the outside of my property that was about 13 feet. Old alligator, been there since I was a child. 2 or 3 years ago, he disappeared. We found out why. One of the tour companies, they come back here, they pull the alligator up on the boat. They started feeding the alligator. The alligator was being fed, so he didn't have to leave. But when they needed to leave, he couldn't get them back into the water. So what they had to do, pick them up and put them back into the water. Hence the reason why he hasn't been here in 3-4 years.
Huh.
He died or went away?
He just found somewhere else.
He felt like he wasn't welcome?
Even being that large, he found out that this is bigger.
They're that programmed.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. I've seen that actually happen. Where we live at,
Yeah,
we got a
it's a
bunch
big
of crawfish ponds. My father, they harvest the crawfish. I've seen walking on a levee, there's a little airborne alligator. What is going on? About 6 of them, you know, he's putting them in his mouth, tossing them. That's how I figured out. I asked my grandpa why he's done that. That's what he's doing. He's telling them you don't belong. He's being nice to them. He probably ate his fill and the rest of them. Now, another reason why the survival rate is so low is because during the time of the year while she's got them in the nest, it's really hot. And the temperature of the nest determines the sex of the alligator. So the majority of them are born males. Because while she lays her nest in the marsh, she uses the marsh that's dying around her that she puts around it to incubate the eggs, because they are cold-blooded animals, and sitting on top of it will probably crush the eggs, because by the time they're able to reproduce, they weigh at least 80, 90 pounds. So she used the decomposing marsh around the eggs to incubate. That stuff gets really hot sometimes, and then also that time of year is at least 85, 90 degrees. The separation mark between male and female being born is 82, 83 degrees or lower would be female, 92, 93 degrees or higher would be male. That's why most of them are born male, why the survival rate is so low.
And how long does she carry the eggs before she has them?
Now, she only actually has the maternal instincts for 3-4 months. She'll have the maternal instinct.
What's the word for them?
That's who we are.